my modern and unstoppable seniors. Let me ask you something that might sound a little strange at first. Could the vegetables on your dinner plate actually be harming your eyesight? I know it's unexpected. After all, we've been told all our lives that vegetables are the secret to staying healthy, sharp, and strong. And in many ways, that's absolutely true. But what no one tells you is that some vegetables, even the ones praised as superfoods, can quietly damage your vision, especially after you hit 60. Now, I'm not saying vegetables are bad. I'm saying that for older eyes, the rules change. You see, after 60, your eyes don't function the way they used to. They become more delicate, they don't heal as quickly, and the tiniest imbalance, whether it's too much inflammation, poor blood flow, or even a certain vitamin overload, can lead to problems like dry eyes, high eye pressure, blurry vision, and even the early stages of macular degeneration. What makes this worse is that nobody warns you about it. Not your friends, not your general doctor, and definitely not the signs at the grocery store as an eye specialist. I've seen this pattern over and over again. Seniors struggling with eye discomfort, using expensive drops, taking vitamins, doing everything right, but still waking up with itchy, tired, or watery eyes. And in many cases, it's something on their plate. That's why in this video, I'm going to walk you through 5 everyday vegetables that seniors should be cautious about. They're not dangerous for everyone, but if you're over 60 and noticing that your vision feels off, these 5 could quietly be doing harm behind the scenes. Now, these vegetables aren't inherently evil. Many of them are actually considered healthy. But healthy for who? That's the key question. Because what nourishes a 40-year-old body might overstimulate or inflame the eyes of someone in their 60s, 70s, or beyond. Unstoppable seniors, you care about your health. You want to stay active, independent, and fully present in your life. And that means keeping your vision strong, clear, and protected. So today, I'm pulling back the curtain on this topic. You deserve to know the full picture. We'll look at which vegetables can raise inflammation in the eye, which ones affect blood flow to the retina, and which ones, even in small amounts, can worsen dryness or pressure over time. And please don't skip ahead, because the last vegetable I'll talk about is one that millions of people eat with the best of intentions, thinking they're doing their body a favor. But for older eyes, it might be setting you up for long-term vision issues you don't even see coming. So let's begin with the first vegetable on our list. It's in almost every kitchen, it's in nearly every salad, and it's doing more than just making you tear up when you cut it. Vegetable number 1, raw onions. Yes, those crisp, punchy slices we love tossing into salads and sandwiches. But here's something most people don't realize, especially my modern and unstoppable seniors. Those raw onions might be doing more than just adding flavor. They could be quietly triggering irritation, inflammation, and even contributing to that gritty, dry feeling you can't seem to get rid of. Let me explain. Raw onions contain a high amount of sulfur compounds, especially synpropanethyl oxide. That's the chemical that makes your eyes water when you chop an onion. It's not just a nuisance, it's a warning sign from your eyes. Your tear glands are reacting to an irritant, trying to protect themselves. Now, here's the critical part. In younger people, this reaction is short-lived. The tear film recovers, the eye rebounds, but as we age, our tear production weakens, and our ability to repair and soothe the eye naturally declines. That means seniors, especially those with existing dry eye syndrome, are far more sensitive to these irritants, and those sulfur compounds, they linger in the air, especially in closed kitchens or homes with limited airflow. Even after the onions are chopped, the residual compounds can stay in the environment, triggering inflammation in already delicate eyes. And if you're eating them raw, those sulfur compounds can even affect internal inflammation in ways that subtly impact your eye health. Let me share a quick story. I once spoke with a patient named Harold Hees, 74. He loved his evening salad and swore by fresh red onion slices every night, but he was constantly rubbing his eyes, complaining of a burning sensation. Even after using eye drops and warm compresses, when I suggested he eliminate raw onions for a short period and switch to lightly sautéed or cooked varieties, he noticed a change in just 10 days. His eyes felt calmer, the redness faded, and that gritty, tired feeling mostly gone. You see, cooking onions changes their chemistry. The sulfur compounds break down under heat and lose much of their tear-inducing and inflammatory potential. So if you enjoy the flavor, you don't have to give them up completely, just switch to cooked forms, roasted, grilled, or gently sautéed. Onions are much easier on your eyes. It's these subtle changes that add up, because over time, chronic low-level inflammation around the eyes can weaken your tear ducts, blur your vision, or even raise your risk of corneal microdamage, something we want to avoid at all costs. So here's your takeaway. My modern and unstoppable seniors. If your eyes often feel dry, irritated, or overly watery even, when you're not cutting onions, look at what you're eating, not just what you're chopping. Raw onions may be flavorful, but for aging eyes, they can be a hidden irritant. Now on to the next vegetable. This one looks harmless beautiful, but it belongs to a group that has been scientifically linked to inflammation. And for many seniors, it's the quiet cause of swelling, blurry vision, and mystery shadows in the corner of their eyes. Vegetable. Number 2, eggplant and its sneaky relatives in the nightshade family. Now, my modern and unstoppable seniors, this might surprise you, eggplants, tomatoes, bell peppers, even white potatoes, they're all part of a plant group known as nightshades. Sounds dramatic, right? And in some ways, it is. These vegetables contain natural chemical compounds called alkaloids. One of the most notable is solanine, and while it's naturally occurring, it's not exactly senior-friendly. In some people, especially those over 60, these alkaloids can quietly trigger low-grade, chronic inflammation in the body. You might be thinking, what does that have to do with my vision? A lot more than you might think. You see, your eyes are full of tiny, fragile blood vessels. They rely on clean circulation and low inflammation to deliver nutrients and oxygen to your retina and optic nerve. But when your body is constantly dealing with low-level irritation, like the kind these alkaloids can provoke, those blood vessels may suffer. Over time, this can lead to swelling around the eyes, increased sensitivity to light blurry spots, or floaters, and in more serious cases, early signs of macular degeneration. One of my patients, Carol, age 72, had been eating roasted eggplant almost every other day. She loved Mediterranean cooking, but she kept having bouts of unexplained eye puffiness and what she called a fog creeping into her vision. No allergy, no infection, no dry eye diagnosis. We took a dietary approach, cutting out nightshades for 30 days, and guess what? Her vision cleared. The puffiness around her eyes reduced noticeably. That creeping fog gone. She was stunned, and honestly, so was Ib, because she had no clue that a healthy vegetable like eggplant could be causing that reaction. Now, to be fair, not everyone reacts to nightshades. Some people can eat them without any problem. But if you're over 60, and especially if you have autoimmune issues, arthritis, high blood pressure, or chronic inflammation, you could be more sensitive than you think. And here's something most people don't know: as we age, our gut lining becomes more permeable, meaning those inflammatory alkaloids can leak into our bloodstream more easily, causing subtle reactions that build over time. And your eyes, they're often the first to feel it. So here's your simple action step. If you've been experiencing unexplained blurry vision, frequent eye swelling, or weird shadows creeping into your peripheral vision, try a 30-day nightshade elimination test. Replace eggplants and peppers with alternatives like zucchini, squash, or sweet potatoes, and see how your eyes respond. Remember, we're not demonizing these foods. They're nutritious for many. But for some seniors, they're a hidden culprit in a very personal battle with inflammation. And when it comes to your vision, small changes to your plate can mean big protection for your future. And now, let's talk about a third vegetable that might be marketed as ultra-healthy, but if you're not careful, it can quietly mess with one of the most crucial elements of eye health, your circulation. Vegetable number 3, beets. Yes, I said it, beets now. I know what you're thinking. My modern and unstoppable seniors, beets. But aren't those supposed to improve blood flow? You're absolutely right. Beets are often praised for their high levels of nitrates, which the body converts into nitric oxide, a compound known to relax blood vessels, improve circulation, and even help regulate blood pressure. But here's the paradox. For seniors, especially those over 60 with glaucoma, diabetic eye conditions, or high intraocular pressure, beets can become a bit of a double-edged sword. Let me explain why. When nitric oxide levels fluctuate too quickly, it can cause sharp changes in eye pressures in individuals whose ocular systems are already compromised. That means if you've got borderline or diagnosed glaucoma, loading up on beet juice or beet salads every day may trigger sudden shifts in your eye pressure, sometimes without any warning signs. I've seen it happen to patients more than once. There was Harold, age 69, who started drinking a glass of beet juice every morning after reading about its heart health benefits. Within weeks, he began experiencing wavy vision in one eye and pressure spikes that didn't make sense. It wasn't until we traced it back to his new beet habit that the pieces came together. Once he cut it back to once or twice a week, his eye pressure stabilized again. And that's the takeaway here. Beets aren't bad, they're actually powerful. But too much of a good thing can become a hidden stressor, especially when your optic nerves are more fragile due to age. Another factor is blood sugar. Beets are naturally high in sugar compared to other root vegetables. While they may not seem sweet, that sugar can still spike blood glucose levels in seniors, especially those with prediabetes or diabetes. High blood sugar can damage the tiny capillaries in the retina, leading to diabetic retinopathy, one of the leading causes of vision loss in older adults. So if you're already managing blood sugar concerns, or your vision feels off after meals with beets, your body might be telling you it's time to scale back. Here's what you can do instead. Enjoy beets in moderation, not daily. Balance them with low glycemic vegetables like leafy greens. And if you're using beet supplements or juices, start slow. Watch how your eyes and blood pressure respond. Your vision depends on stable, gentle blood flow, not sudden pressure swings or sugar surges. So remember, beets can help or harm depending on how you use them. And speaking of leafy greens, let's move on to the fourth vegetable, surprising. One that's been hailed as a superfood, but could be messing with your vitamin balance in a way that quietly hurts your eyesight over time. Number 4. Spinach. Yes, spinach. The poster child for health. The green powerhouse that made Popeye strong, but for my modern and unstoppable seniors, it may be doing something very different inside your eyes. Spinach is loaded with vitamin K, oxalates, and carotenoids, like lutein and zeaxanthinol, nutrients that play a role in health, especially eye health. So, how could it possibly be on this list? The issue lies not in the spinach itself, but in how often and how much seniors eat it, especially in raw or concentrated form. Let's start with oxalates. Spinach has one of the highest oxalate levels of any common vegetable. These compounds bind with calcium in the body and can contribute to kidney stones and calcification, but more relevant to our eyes, they may interfere with nutrient absorption, including magnesium and calcium, which are both essential for proper eye function. You may not feel it right away, but over time, high oxalate intake can make your body less efficient at distributing the very nutrients your eyes rely on to stay strong and lubricated. Then there's the vitamin K issue. If you're taking blood thinners like warfarina, very common medication, in seniors eating, a lot of spinach can interfere with how your medication works. And guess what? That interference can affect your circulation, including blood flow to the tiny capillaries behind your eyes. Too much vitamin K can thicken the blood, or reduce the medication's thinning effect, leading to reduced oxygen delivery to the retina and optic nerve. And here's something most people don't know. High levels of lutein and zeaxanthin from supplements and frequent spinach smoothies can also lead to something called corotanodermia, harmless skin condition, but a sign that your body may be saturated with fat-soluble nutrients. When that saturation spills over, your liver gets taxed, and your eyes may experience fatigue, dryness, or blurred vision. I remember a case of Marlena, a vibrant 74-year-old, who blended raw spinach into her green smoothie every morning and took extra lutein supplements just to be safe. She started noticing light halos and had increasing sensitivity to screen glare. We reduced her spinach intake, paused the lutein for a while, and within weeks, her symptoms eased. That's the thing, my modern and unstoppable seniors. More is not always betterest, especially with fat-soluble vitamins and high oxalate foods. So, what's the solution? Cook spinach lightly to reduce oxalates. Rotate your greens, dry arugula, bok choy, or kale, which have different nutrient profiles. And be mindful of supplements. especially if you're already eating nutrient-rich foods daily. If your eyes are dry, tired, or oversensitive to light, it may not just be age, it could be an imbalance, quietly building up from what you eat every morning with good intentions. And now, the fifth vegetable. It's one that's praised on every healthy eating blog, sold in superfood wraps and smoothies, and added to countless anti-inflammatory recipes. But if you're not careful, it could be increasing your risk of retinal stress. Vegetable number 5, beets. They're earthy, colorful, and often marketed as a miracle root for blood pressure, heart health, and circulation. But for my modern and unstoppable seniors, especially those already noticing vision changes, beets can carry a surprising risk. Let's break it down. Beets are rich in nitrates, which convert in the body into nitric oxide, a compound that widens blood vessels and boosts circulation. That sounds great, right? In younger people, it often is. But as we age, our vascular system becomes more fragile, and this sudden dilation of capillaries, especially in the delicate vessels behind the eyes, can sometimes do more harm than good. Here's how. Elevated nitric oxide levels can cause fluctuations in intraocular pressure. That's the pressure inside your eye, and when it rises too quickly or too often, it puts stress on the optic nerve, increasing your risk of conditions like glaucoma and even retinal vein occlusion. This happening, it doesn't hurt, but it can quietly manifest as a dull ache behind your eyes, increased floaters, intermittent blurred spots in your vision, or even a pulsating sensation in low light. I once worked with a senior named Dennis, age 79, who had switched to a Batan ginger juice every morning for heart health. Within a few months, he noticed an odd throbbing blur that would come and go. His eye pressure, which had been borderline before, had climbed noticeably. We reduced his beet intake to twice per week and encouraged more magnesium-rich foods, like pumpkin seeds and avocado, and the symptoms began to fade. Beets also contain oxalates, much like spinach, which can contribute to crystal formation in sensitive individuals, adding to inflammation risk in the kidneys and potentially in the eyes. Does this mean beets are bad? Not at all, but for seniors over 60th, especially those on blood pressure medications, with a family history of glaucoma, or who already experience eye pressure symptoms daily, beet juice or large portions of roasted beets could be too much of a good thing. Here's what to do instead. Limit beet consumption to 2 to 3 times per week. Always pair them with hydrating foods and electrolytes to balance pressure shifts. And if you're juicing them, dilute with cucumber or celery to soften the effect. Remember, as you age, your body becomes more sensitive not just to toxins, but also to nutrient overload. The foods that help one system may quietly stress another, especially when it comes to your vision. So, my modern and unstoppable seniors, let's take a moment to reflect on what we've learned. So, my modern and unstoppable seniors, we've taken a close, honest look at 5 vegetables that, while often praised for their health benefits, can quietly disrupt your vision and eye health after 60. Let's quickly recap the vegetables. We covered raw onions with their sulfur-rich vapors, irritating tear ducts, and worsening dry eye nightshades like eggplant, potentially triggering low-grade inflammation. In sensitive eyes, spinach, high in oxalates that may contribute to oxidative stress in the retina corn, which can spike blood sugar and increase pressure on the small vessels of the eye, and beets, with their powerful nitrates that may raise intraocular pressure if overused. Now, none of these are inherently bad. And I'm not telling you to fear vegetables, far from it, but when you're over 60, your body speaks in quieter ways, and your eyes are often the first to whisper that something isn't quite right. It's not about cutting out all the foods you love, it's about listening to your body, making smart adjustments, and being open to the idea that even healthy foods might not be healthy for you. Here's what I recommend moving forward. If you eat any of these vegetables daily, consider reducing the frequency and watching how your eyes respond over a few weeks. Keep a simple vision journal, nothing fancy. Just jot down any changes in blurriness, dryness, eye pressure sensations, or floaters, and talk to an eye care specialist who understands the role of diet, not just prescription lenses. You deserve to see clearly for the years ahead. You've earned that. And with just a few small changes in your daily meals, you could prevent further damage and even regain some comfort in your vision. And if no one has told you this today, let me be the one. You are not fragile. You are simply adjusting to a new phase of wisdom and strength. Every smart choice you make now is an investment in a future that's brighter, clearer, and more independent. If this video helped you or opened your eyes literally or figuratively, consider sharing it with someone you love. You never know who might be struggling quietly and just needs a nudge in the right direction. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to Wellness for Modern Seniors for more insights tailored just for you, because aging well isn't about surviving. It's about thriving with knowledge. Until next time, take care of your eyes, take care of your health, and take care of each other.